So as you can see, it's starting to boil. And so we don't want to overdo this step. Once you put them in and the boil starts to go, the moment that they get to a boiling, I'm going to turn it off and I'm going to let them sit again for 5-10 minutes in that water. But I don't want to continue cooking them on there. And then we're going to transfer it to a blender. And we're going to add a couple more spices. We're going to add some garlic, some onion, and we're going to blend that for our tomatillo sauce. So it's almost there. As you can see, it's just starting, the boil is starting to get there. Those tomatillos are going to get nice and soft. If you've never worked with tomatillos, when you go pick them, they're just like a tomato. And so if you get them on, they're very mushy, they're going to be mushy right from the start. If you get them on, they're kind of green, really light green, that means they're not very ripe. The darker the color, the more, the softer and the riper it will be. And so riper, is that a good word? Did I just create a new word in English? So ripen, riper, you know what I mean. So we're going to wait just a little bit longer here. Pretty soon it's going to boil and then we'll be good to go. Less than 10 minutes, right? You can start to see the bubbles right on the side. It's starting to really boil. The tomatillos are starting to really shine that color, that green color. And again, right in here at the chiles, probably a lot of water. You could do it in less water. I just added 6 cups to this pan, and then just to make sure that we have it. And again, I'm just waiting for that roll boil to come through and just that softening up our chiles. And then it's also softening up our tomatoes, our tomatillos. We're almost there. This is going to be such an awesome sauce. This sauce can go with anything, steak, with chicken, especially with these tacos. It's going to be absolutely delicious. Once you start to see your tomatoes start to kind of turn over and rotate, that's a good sign. It means just almost there. That boil is really going. Again, I'm just waiting just a little longer. A few more bubbles. That's what I'm looking for right there. I'm going to turn it off. And again, I'm going to let this sit 5 minutes, just for 5 minutes, and then we will start with the sauce. Okay, so now that about 10 minutes, 5 minutes have gone by, actually just about 5 minutes have gone by, all I'm going to do is I'm going to transfer my sauce to a blender, and I'll show you what it looks like. But really all I'm going to do is I'm going to transfer my tomatillos with a little bit of the water that's in here right to the blender. And again, how spicy you want the sauce to be is really just depending on how many chiles you put in there. So right now I am actually only going to use 3 just because in my family spice is not entirely, our level of spice doesn't always go across the board. So we're going to basically use just 3 to create a mild to medium sauce. It's going to have a little bit of a bite, but it's not going to be overwhelming. So again, my tomatillos, I'm going to add my last chile right there. And then I'm also going to add a quarter of an onion. I'm going to add 10 cloves of garlic to that. I am also going to add a nice spoonful of the water that I just cooked the tomatillos on. Remember, that water is going to be hot. So when we blend, and I'm going to put just a little more, there's quite a few tomatillos in there. Then to that, I am going to add, just to make sure that, for the tomatillo sauce, I am going to add salt and pepper to taste. So I'm basically, if we're going to go by measurement, just so you're aware, what I normally do is I usually do a teaspoon of pepper, a teaspoon of salt. So as you can see, I'll do a teaspoon, right there, a teaspoon of pepper. I'm also going to add a teaspoon of salt. And again, the idea for this sauce is we want the tomatillos to shine through. We really want the tomatillos to be the showcase of the sauce. Is going to be a little tangy. It's not going to be too red. If you added a whole bunch of the chiles, then the sauce would be a lot more red. This is going to be a little green. So we're going to start, because of the heat that is in that water. We want to basically start. We want to start the blender in low, and then we will work our way up in power. You don't want this. You don't want to do this on high, because you want all those seeds and the tomatillo to be, the sauce to be a little thicker. So again, I am going to just start in low, and really what I'm going to do is I'm going to pulse it. And let me actually lower the camera a little bit more so you can kind of see a little bit more, and you can kind of hear that hiss of the water, because it's hot. And so if you want to vent it a little bit, but again, we want to just pulsing it. We want all those seeds of the tomatillo sauce to be there. We want it to be a little chunky. And the consistency really will depend on how much water you added. If you added too much water, it's going to be a little runny. But again, I just want to make sure that all the chiles are really just ground down. And then once I'm done with that, just like that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to release right here, and I'm going to show you just how that looks. So again, if you look at it and you want to make sure that there's not a lot of big chunks of onion or the chile, but you want to make sure that you don't overdo it and it's not a liquid sauce. By the way, you do not need to have a Ninja blender to do this. You can do it in any blender you would like. I'm going to grab a bowl to put the sauce in, and we're going to let it cool. We're going to let that sauce cool before we serve it. And so it is hot, right, because of the boiled water. So you just want to pour it and then let it nice and easy cool off. You can leave it on the counter. This sauce will last you probably about a week in the fridge, I would say. Beyond that, the longer you let it sit on the fridge, the hotter the spice will be. But again, all I'm going to do is I'm going to pour it in a bowl. All right, so that's how the sauce is going to do. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically let it sit on the counter and cool off, and then that'll be the sauce that we will actually serve with our birria tacos. So that's tomatillo sauce. Often I am asked how hot, if I want medium or if I want mild sauce. Again, so just so you can see kind of the consistency. So people ask me if you want it hot, what should you do in terms of the number of peppers, the number of chiles that you're going to do. So, just so you can see that sauce. And it'll thicken a little bit. As you can see, it's a little liquid. It has some nice chunks of the chile, which will give it the spice. The seeds of the tomatillo and the skin of the tomatillo give it a nice consistency. If you want it mild, anywhere from 1 to 3 chiles will do. If you're doing about 9 or 10 tomatillos. If you want it medium, I would say 6 tomatillos, 6 chiles will do. If you want it hot, anything above 6 will give you a nice hot flavor. If you're not used to chiles, or if you're not a fan of the spice, then what I would suggest is start mild, see how you like it, and then build from there. The idea is that you should taste your food, not just have too hot that you can't really taste the flavor of the food. So again, we're going to let that cool, and then we're going to move on to make our birria tacos.